here. There we go. All right, so here's kind of the market as we're looking at it today. Everything's kind of dropping off, unfortunately. Active listings have actually started coming back up a little bit because of our buying activity has gone down a little. You wouldn't know it considering some of the ones, like an investor we just made an offer on was around the 250,000 range, and they'd only been on the market for 2 days. They just did paint and carpet after being a rental for many years, and had asked him, well, how many offers you got? He's like 24, I think. I lost count. I was like, wow, how many showings are you getting? He's like, oh, we had about 90. And I was like, in 3 days? He's like, yeah, it's been pretty much booked up. So it's the market we're in. We have less than half a month's supply. As we know, in some price ranges, it's less than 6 days. So our actives are going very quickly. Our market index, as we were talking about just a little bit ago, it has dropped off the face of the cliff. The only one that's starting to actually level out a little bit is Chandler. Don't know, maybe they had a spike of inventory come up somewhere. This is what we're talking about when we say the price has gone, or market index has gone off the cliff. Right around March, we had a peak. The market index is the highest it's ever been at 515, or sorry, yes, it is the highest I've ever been. Excuse me. The market has been the highest, appreciation is not. So appreciation is still going up because this is a trailing 3-month indicator. So it means now that we've fallen off the cliff and the market index is dropping like a rock, like it did during the lockdown and like it did over here in 2006. What that means is we can expect appreciation to drop off here shortly in the next 3 months. Could level off, could pick up, but most likely in the next 3 months, it looks like it's going to come back down. To share with your sellers that if they're thinking of listing in the fall, that might be a little too late. Hopefully by the end of summer, they'll notice that. Here's kind of our annual price range increases. Just wanted to go over really quickly. I've got a bunch of data from GPEC that I want to share with you guys. So I'm not going to cover very much in the market on the Cromford report, but just want to let you know that, yeah, in this $250,000 range, that's where the most of the growth is happening because there's just nothing available. 24 offers in 1 weekend is just insane. Just to show you on the national level, Redfin's kind of saying the same thing. Housing market update, half the homes are not selling above this price, and demand may have peaked. They said things are dropping off. People are not putting in offers as much as they used to. Could be fatigue, could be who knows what, but this is the time of year where it's supposed to be picking up because, you know, Memorial Day weekend's coming. Kids are going to get out of school, et cetera, et cetera. National level even. So national level, most people, their high peak seasons is summer. So it's spring. And this is another one. I just want to point out to you guys that the counter offer is going to be revised. The cool thing is they're going to put in there, except as otherwise provided in the counter, parties accept and agree to all terms and conditions of the above offer. So that means you don't have to put in there, as we always used to do, all of the terms and conditions remain the same in the counter. They're also going to put in language in there because of a lot of people getting into fights over it, is that until this counter has been accepted in the manner described above, the parties understand someone can pull this counter offer. So if you're getting into a bidding war or you get multiple offers on a listing, your best bet is to counter and delay so you can potentially get another offer while you're waiting for that one, or while you're waiting for them to hurry back from them, get another better offer. You can pull the existing counter and say, sorry, we've got a better offer. We're going with this one. Any questions on those two things before I jump into GPEC stuff? Let's see, come on, load. There we go. So GPEC, Greater Phoenix Economic Overview for the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. They gave a presentation to the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. A lot of cool data in it. What they've done over the last, obviously, 31 years, they've been growing up the economy over here in Greater Phoenix area, put in many billions of dollars and created lots of jobs. That's what they like to say. Here's where our 3 airports are. I totally forgot we even have one out in Avondale. This is kind of all the growth projects around those areas. The last fiscal years, you can see a lot of the stuff's just starting to head out towards the west side. That's where our big growth's going to be happening, they think. And if you guys ever remember, the 5 C's of Arizona was climate, citrus, copper, cattle, and cotton. That was our past economic markets. Now they say now in the present and the future, healthcare is the big one, finance and insurance. And now we're starting to grow our tech and info infrastructure and becoming a manufacturing hub. Healthcare, big growths, lots of jobs, the big names down below. All the companies coming in and expanding. Finance and insurance, almost as good a growth spurt. Of course, all the big ones that we know about already in the valley. High tech, they just had, Amazon even came out. That'll probably be under manufacturing and such. But yeah, aerospace, always been a big one out here. Intel, always expanding. Manufacturing, same thing. Intel, Boeing, Honeywell again. We even had that big Taiwan one coming into town. Greater Phoenix employment has been a spike. Of course, we had the drop during lockdown. They still say it's on an upward trend though, which is good. Still bringing in a lot more jobs, non-farm. This is kind of an interesting slide that they went over the impact that COVID had on the job losses. Majority of them were in leisure and hospitality, which that makes sense, obviously. Professional business services, which is an interesting one. I didn't expect that one to be as high as retail or higher. So, healthcare, of course, which oddly enough did take a hit. You'd think they would actually have big influx. This is what they're showing so far in a recovery since April. Big jump in, obviously, in leisure and hospitality as everything started opening up again. Retail trade has actually bounced back. Not a big increase, only 14% from where it was. So it's probably going to be about steady for the next year. And then also the other ones that came back. Transportation was a big one. Current makeup of our industry. This is kind of interesting. Real estate's only 2. Sad for us. Construction, only 6, which is crazy. It used to be 10 before the crash, of course. Retail trades is still way up there. Government, another big one. Unemployment claims. They say they're on the downward trend, which is good. Outstandings and continued claims are down low from last year. And initial claims are almost, normal. Whatever normal is these days. Cost of living. This is interesting. We actually dropped a few places. We're getting more expensive. We used to be up there above, or on par with Houston and Albuquerque. Used to outclass Salt Lake and Austin. Now we're more expensive. We're getting up there with Dallas and Denver. The interesting thing is still our healthcare is one of the cheapest. So a lot of people always come out here for their healthcare, especially from California. A lot of people drive out for those still. Greater Phoenix economy is growing prior to COVID. That was a good trend. We were on a very upward scale all the way to 2019. Then, of course, everything went crazy. And then it's kind of their basic big overview of the snapshot of the economy. They're actually way above all the goals that they'd had set for 21. So that's always a good thing, overshooting. And then our job forecasts, they still say it's going to be on an upward trend for the next 3 years, which is good for everybody. It's going to be good job growth, which means we win more houses, which means we're going to need higher rents, and our houses are going to go up in value. This is a very interesting one I saw. In 1950, Phoenix greater metro area only grew by 216,000 people. Tiny, tiny little bit. Now, of course, we're supposed to be getting up to 6 million here in the next few years. Crazy. 216,000 to 5 million. People say we don't grow. We're growing. West Valley is where all the explosive growth is going right now. I'm assuming the Southeast Valley will start taking off once that big, huge plot of land out by Queen Creek, once they start building that out in the next 10 years. But as of right now, West Valley is where all the big projects are going right now. That's where all the big growth is. So that's all the data for the tip of the week. I was going to go over about humor and storytelling and how that can grow your business in the sales process. Humor, well, what can help? It doesn't have to be crazy and insane, but it does have to be relevant, grab their attention. It helps you build credibility with your clients, gets them a little bit more at ease with you, makes you stand out. I mean, my favoriteest realtor, when I was doing investing 10, 20 years ago, he was, number one, he knew his market. Number two, he was funny. I liked being around him. He's a good guy. And then, of course, number three, he kept me on track because he's like, whenever I look at properties and I kept telling me I'm going to buy these in as an investment and rent it out. And he was like, all right, we'll help you keep on track for that. And I start checking places out, check out really nice man caves and basements. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. One thing I had to do is he said resale value. I'm like, damn it. I know. This won't work for your average family for 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So, humor benefits. The big thing is getting more things into your funnel. Build up that rapport, build trust. The best, easiest way to get them to like trust you is to get them to laugh. If anybody's heard of those, that cocky and funny type of, strategy for picking up people, there's a reason behind it. There's chemistry, things that go on in your brain, endorphins, etc. kicking off. Was it endorphins? No, it's, I don't know. Dopamine. There we go. When they laugh. Hey, good example of this, emails, even just as a follow-up email, just throwing in one line of humor. Hey, why haven't you responded back to me? Are you okay? Do you need a few months? You're just not interested? Or are you being chased by a hippo? Don't need to call animal control. Just something crazy and wacky. Pre-qualify. Just had to throw that one out because it made me laugh. Does it really work? Does it really help you in your business? I thought this one was interesting. This gentleman was putting out stuff, his Pinterest and also on his other audience stuff. He's putting out things for about first-time home buyers, typical agent stuff. Hey, awesome do-it-yourself ideas. You get some impressions, maybe a couple thousand. Oh, Surefire Wares to craft a better brand. Wow, I jumped up to 8,500. He threw in funny memes about agents and stuff. 22,000 impressions. More than 10 times, 20 times his traffic. If you ever heard the term funny is money, it's true. Come on, next one. The other thing, storytelling. Oops, did I go one too far? Nope, this is the one. Storytelling is great. It's a great way to also showcase your neighborhood knowledge. Fun thing about remember about my favorite realtor is he always had really crazy stories about the neighborhoods. He always knew about someone or something happening in there, or he knew some really esoteric facts like palm trees. I didn't even know about this one. I actually found this one online and thought it was funny because my wife loves to date palm trees. And I was telling her stories like, oh, wow, why don't we live in Arcadia? But they have the Black Phoenix. It's all this rare thing that they actually brought out. Another thing I didn't know is that most of the palm trees and also date palm trees none of them were here before the 50s. People brought all these in and planted them just to attract people to the area. The other great thing for storytelling is client testimonials. They tell a story about you. Easy way to get the people to trust you is to say how great you are, but you can't say how great you are about yourself. People won't really believe that. What builds credibility is having someone else say those things about you. There's this little blurb about mom for me that I've had, and then also some people doing their marketing for you can see the realty company. The other thing, highlight your clients' successes. When you get that first key, let them into the house. I always recommend getting pictures of that, capturing that moment. People love seeing that. Even if you get it under contract, some people are putting stuff out there on social media that, hey, another happy buyer, I could help you. My favorite, though, about storytelling is to tell horror stories. These are great because when everybody asks you, well, do we really need to do an inspection? It's cost so much money. They start telling about where the people have sawn through floor joists, or I love this one right in the middle with the water right on top of the outlet. One of them, my favorite, is 20 years ago. I was telling the guys like, well, do I really need to spend the $200 on this thing? I know how to look through houses. I know what's wrong with them. And we were buying in the mountains, and my agent convinced me, get the inspection. We go into it, and I was like, yeah, I know. The guy in the back in the guest house, he's a hoarder. I know there's probably going to be lots of problems with it. I'm going to gut it. And he's like, oh, no, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I was like, oh, crap, what's going on? He's like, yeah, remember that chimney that doesn't work? Yeah, it's cracked all the way through. If you ever put a fire in there, you're going to burn down the house and you tear down the chimney. The reason why the chimney's cracked is because this house wants to go down the hill. They did very bad, poor foundation, like this one in the middle, bottom left. Timbers are twisted. It's about to fall down. The reason is because they didn't put some kind of, what they call those pylons or whatever in there properly. Half the house was actually tilting. are going down the hill already. They'd covered it all up by putting in some of the, what do they call it, patching stuff, and then painting over it. That's fraudulent these days. Covering up an issue they knew about. Never said anything about foundation problems. Big, huge cracks. We found out we could look through the paint, see they're there. Also, on top of that, he's like, yeah, you look in the bathroom. He's like, yeah, don't touch that. But look at that. See that big bulbing thing? I'm like, yeah, it looks like water damage. He's like, yeah, but it's hard. I'm like, so what's that mean? He's like, it's hard because it's packed full of mold. He got major mold problems in all these bathrooms. I'm like, oh my gosh. If I went through and not gotten the inspection, bought that house, I would have been in the tens of thousands of dollars of damage I would have to do on my own or come back and sue them. Even my favorite one is people ask about, do they need inspection on new builds? There's been several cases where people just totally forgot to put insulation in one of the rooms. Wow, crazy. Would have been a super hot box in this area. Other thing is they didn't properly ventilate in ceiling cavities, so they start getting mold. Got a little big rainstorm. These new houses are all super tight, airtight. Can't get any airflow. Mold grew all over the walls. Black mold everywhere. The best thing you can do is actually tell a story and cross it with humor. And so hopefully I can get this movie to play with audio.
I want to thank you for
Do you
coming.
guys hear that?
I'm very sorry for your loss. Mrs. Mimi Vandertrump has left her entire fortune and property to her favorite child, Sherlock Bones.
So it's a $17.4 million house in Hollywood Hills. Hey, I got a good idea. Let's tell a story about a dog. Totally showcase the lifestyle living in the hills.
Don't that feel real funky, y'all?
Sherlock, come here, boy.
Sherlock, come on.
Sherlock, come on, baby.
Sherlock.
Bones. Sherlock, come here, babe. What do you think he's thinking about?
So that whole video just for that one plug about the address and where the place is, but they actually showcased all the lifestyle that goes along with the home that they're looking to get buyers interested in. They brought in the luxury cars and such to show the lifestyle as well, and also they hooked up with a local boutique. That's why they had the girl walking with the dress. Oops, I have to play it again. Next slide. Just final thought. Storytelling and humor definitely will help you out with your business. Definitely builds trust, and also will make it more interesting for the clients to stick around and be your clients. That's it for basically the tip. Anybody have anything that's going on with their business or need help with? something that we can do to help you grow your business? All right, I want to kill the recording here.